That movie is a shit show. What you think you see, what you think you hear, that's what it's about. It's all theater of the mind. No, it's garbage. It's garbage. Mood and atmosphere. Now that I really like. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I want to see.
Yes, yes, yes. What's going on, everybody? It is Thursday, July the 13th, 2023. Happy 81st birthday to the legend Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford turns 81 years old today. 81. SAG-AFTRA is officially on strike. They will join the WGA, who been on strike since May. What does it mean? Are you excited about it? You shouldn't be. You shouldn't be excited about it. What's going on, everybody? That's a cool track. I gotta play that again. It's a great track. That's right, he's 81. He's 81. Harrison Ford, 81 years old today, born July the 13th, 1942. Same age as my father. My father would have been 81 on May the 3rd. But the SAG-AFTRA strike is on. We can talk a little bit about that. Obviously, I have some thoughts, but it's an all Q&A, so get your questions in, get those super chats ready. Time to catch up. It's been a while since I've had a stream where it's just been me. Obviously, the last two streams I've had, I think I was with Cecil. And I'm back in the thick of summer now. And now it's time to talk about what's going on, everybody! Yes. Good to see everybody here. SAG-AFTRA is officially on strike. Years ago, there used to be two unions, actually. It used to be SAG and then AFTRA. They were two separate entities. And then in 2013, they merged. The union here in Canada is ACTRA, A-C-T-R-A. Obviously, SAG stands for the Screen Actors Guild. AFTRA is the American Federation of Radio and Television Artists. I think that's it. ACTRA is the Alliance of Canadian Radio and Television Artists. So, man, I got a lot of thoughts. I got a lot of thoughts on this. So I made a post earlier today. Let me start here. By the way, get those questions in now. I mean, if they're super chats, you can send them in now. I will, I'll get to them. So I just want to get this out of the way. I was going to actually make a whole show on this, and I thought, maybe I'll do a video. I don't know. But so yeah, SAG-AFTRA is officially on strike. They joined the WGA. This is the first time since 1960 that this has happened. The first time since 2000, but I thought it was 1980. I read 1980, but they were on strike as well in the year 2000. I was getting mixed messages depending on where I was reading. Deadline said like 1980, and then I was told that. Anyway, it's been a while. It's been a minute, as the kids say, since SAG was on strike. And I made a post earlier today on my socials and in the community section here on YouTube, just letting everybody know that because some people had reached out and asked, will this affect It's Me, Billy Chapter 2? And I said the short answer is yes, but that there may be options for us because I didn't get into all that in the post, that I might talk about that maybe in a future update, but we still have 4 months before we would likely go to camera. So there's still time. Now, these strikes can last months. So, but with SAG-AFTRA on strike, the industry shuts down. So actors are not allowed to work. They're not allowed to promote their movies. All the premieres will be canceled. Tom Cruise, effective right now, cannot promote Mission Impossible 6. So he will, wherever he is in the world promoting it, he was just recently here in Toronto, that stops immediately. And all the film festivals stop immediately for actors promoting their movies, premieres, all that kind of stuff. And it stops. So when the WGA goes on strike, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. But not as big a deal as when the actors go on strike, because production halts. Like literally everything that was in production in terms of studio released films, mainstream Hollywood, stops. Television shows, movies, stops on a dime. Done. Put your pencils down. Down. It's like when you're in school and there's a fire alarm. You don't have time to finish. No, put your fucking pencil down and get out. That's literally what's happening here, right? So it's big. It's huge. The industry shuts down. Release dates, depending on how long the strike goes on, release dates will no doubt get moved, will no doubt get shifted, 100%. So will it affect It's Me, Billy Chapter 2? As I said, the short answer is yes. But because we are a not-for-profit indie shoot, we have options. And SAG there are some waivers for indie productions that don't have distribution, right? Are not backed by a studio. And we would fall under that category. So it's possible that if the strike is still on in November, which is when we would likely go to camera, it's possible with the information I've been reading about today, because as you can imagine, I've been, neck deep into this shit all day. And it's possible that we may still get to go ahead. Now, that also means that, our SAG member, Olivia Hussey, would have to agree to that. Right. So she's more than entitled not to. Right. She's a SAG member of SAG-AFTRA, and she's, it's up to her. So we would hope that because of the type of project we are, that things can still move forward based on the options that I'm seeing. But I say that just to let all you guys know, because you are our backers. And I like to bring you up to speed and let you know what's going on. This is sort of the Cliff Notes version right now of what's happening in regards to Billy 2. But we are a union project. We're not just SAG, we're also ACTRA here in Canada, because our Canadian actors are ACTRA. Now, thankfully, they're not on strike. They don't renegotiate, I think, till next year. So, so we have to pay attention to these things. So it is possible that we might be delayed, but it's also, there's a good chance we may not be. We have options. We have more options than like if we were like a Paramount movie, right? If we were a Paramount film right now, no, it's done. It's that like we put down our pencils and we do not touch a fucking thing until the strike's over. Do you know what I mean? But because we are a indie shoot and we're not for profit, because not all indie shoots obviously are not for profit, but we're also not for profit. We have options. So I didn't mention that this morning because it was still very early in the process of me figuring out everything. So what I posted this morning is still true. The short answer is yes. Does it affect us? Well, yes, it does. 100% it does. To what degree, don't know yet. So I will keep you all posted as we move along, depending on how long this strike lasts. So it's tricky, but I do support it. I mean, everything that I'm hearing, I do support it. Obviously, again, yeah, I do, when I hear things like, in regards to AI, that the studios wanted to, scan background performers, right? And digitize their likeness and their face and all that kind of stuff. And so they can use them indefinitely forever without ever having to pay them ever again. So let's say you were a background performer okay, and you get cast in what's filming right now? I don't know, Beetlejuice 2. Okay, let's just say that. And you're a background performer in Beetlejuice 2. That's great, but you're a day player, okay? So a day player is actually more than an extra. You are an extra, but you're an extra, and you're there for one day. You're there for one day. Now, I'm not saying that they are doing this yet. I'm just saying that this is a scenario that SAG is fighting against. And the studios want to be able to scan your image and your likeness, pay you for that day, totally pay you for that day, right? Oh yeah, I mean, you're on set, we're going to pay you for that day. But now we've cataloged your likeness and your image. And now we get to use you because we have a digital version of you. We get to use you in the background of any fucking movie we ever want for the rest of history. And we don't have to pay you a fucking thing. Yeah. No. I wouldn't agree to that. Not at all. No way. No way at all. So, it's little things like that. And keep in mind, folks, too, okay, this is very important to keep in mind. The vast majority of SAG-AFTRA members, and there's about 120 or 130,000 of them. And up here in Canada, for ACTRA, there's about 28,000 of us. Not nearly as much, of course, because obviously, we don't have the population. But I can tell you that the vast majority of SAG-AFTRA members, okay, are not multi-millionaires. They're not rock stars, okay? I think I have to be fact-checked on this, but I believe it's only about 2 to 4% of SAG-AFTRA members, maybe even less, that are actually making a living as an actor, okay? The movie stars, your Jennifer Anistons, your Brad Pitts, your Harrison Fords, your Tom, Cruises, they're not the vast majority of SAG-AFTRA members. They are like the 2%, right? I mean, like stars, like real stars. They are the 2%. The vast majority of SAG-AFTRA members are not yes, your Brad Pitts, your Matt Damons, your Harrison Fords, your Tom Cruise. A SAG-AFTRA strike could last for 10 years and they have enough money to live on for the rest of their lives, right? That's not what this is really all about. It's not about the stars. I mean, it is. They have their own fucking shit. But you need the stars there to be able to fight for the little guys. When I say the little guys, I mean like everybody else underneath them that are, waiting tables and, being in movies or are, maybe they are in regular films, but they're just making a living wage. They're making, $50,000-$60,000 a year, which is a salary you could live on depending on your lifestyle. Or maybe you're making $80,000 or $90,000 a year as an actor or something like that, which is a salary you absolutely could live on, right? Depending on what your lifestyle is, of course. And that's where the vast majority of SAG-AFTRA members live. They're not movie stars. Movie stars is like the 1%. But because we have this idea when we think about Hollywood and the way that it's presented and the sheen and the polish and the glitz and the glam, we hear SAG-AFTRA, we just think Hollywood. We think stars. Well, yes, but they're like 2% of the 130,000 members. Do you know what I mean? So it's very small. It's very small. And, but you need those stars to be able to fight because nobody gives a fuck. Like the studios don't care about Billy Bob, who's working regularly, maybe making 80 grand a year as a SAG-AFTRA member, has wound up in some cool, Hollywood films and some bit parts and, things like that. That's really cool. But that's not a threat to the studio. The studio, they don't care about Billy Bob, who played guy number 2, even though he was in a scene with Jennifer Aniston, but he was guy number 2. And he was probably paid, I don't know, $800 for his day. Or maybe he was there for a week and he was paid, I don't know, maybe like $2,000 or something. I got to look. No, no. It could be SAG scale. So if he was there for 2 weeks, he'd probably, Probably be, well, I don't know, maybe a bit less. Again, it all depends on the contract. I can tell you right now that SAG scale right now is about 1082 a day. So that's SAG scale. That's what, you know what I'm saying? So maybe he's there for a day and he's like, hey, it makes $1,000, whatever the case is. And, all that. Fine. But that's not a threat to the studio. The vast majority of SAG-AFTRA members are not threats to the studio, but the stars are. Because the stars are what bring in the money. The stars, the top billing, the billboards, the posters, the Fords, the Cruises, the Jennifer Garners and the Anistons and the Robert Downey Juniors and the Chris Pratts and name it. The stars, Hugh Jackman. Yeah. So when the stars go on strike, and they are because they are SAG-AFTRA members, that's why you have the stars at the podiums, a lot of the times, or it's the stars that are out there on the picket lines. And, there's lots of other actors out there too that you've never heard of that you don't even know, but you have it's the stars because of name recognition, right? And you need them out there fighting for everybody, because nobody's going to give a shit about Billy Bob, but people are going to give a shit if fucking Tom Cruise is out there going, fuck this shit. You know what I'm saying? Right? That's why it's important to have them there. They're not really, listen, the stars have their own beef. 100% they do. There's issues in terms of AI and salary and residuals, and 100% all that is there. But it's the other 98% that they are fighting for that don't have a big voice, that the studios don't give a fuck about. You know what I mean? And they don't give a fuck. They don't give a shit about them so much that they want to scan their image and use it indefinitely without paying them, right? Background performers. That's a thing. And it's like, yeah, I wouldn't agree to that either. You're going to use my image for the rest of my life? You're going to pay me, bitch. I'm a professional. You're going to pay me. Right? It's the way it works, So anyways, I feel very passionate about it, obviously, as a professional voice actor myself who's dealt with this kind of shit. I do feel passionate about it. I know that a fellow voice actor friend of mine, Bev Standing, a Canadian, I've mentioned this before, but her voice was used without her permission as the voice of TikTok, the female voice of TikTok. It was all over the news. I had a conversation. I sent my, support to her. She sued. She won. Well, they settled. I don't know if they're using her voice now. I think they changed it, obviously, because they didn't have her permission. But what happened is that Bev had, I stand to be corrected. Bev, if you ever see this, I'm going to give the Cliff Notes version because I need to brush up on the details. But she had done some work for some company overseas, and then her voice, the files that she had, the stuff that she had recorded, they were able to, through AI, they were able to use that voice for TikTok. And people started to reach out to her and go, Bev, that sounds like you. And she's like, that is fucking me, And I remember when it happened, and I remember going, oh man. As a voice actor, I'm paying attention to this shit. It's a big deal right now. And so, so anyway, she sued. They settled for how much, I don't know. I'm sure it was, a fair bit. But good for her. You have to fight for this shit, especially us voice actors, because, we are out of sight, out of mind. Often people forget that there's an entire multi-billion-dollar industry dedicated to voiceover, whether it's, commercial, narration, animation, promo, audiobooks, corporate presentation and training videos. And everything. In-flight announcements, on the subway car, next stop, blah, blah, blah. Usually voice actors are hired for that shit. It's not just the glitz and the glam of, movie trailers, commercial animation, right? It's a lot of stuff. And, it affects us too. So I've been paying a lot of attention to it, and I feel very passionate about it. And I absolutely support SAG-AFTRA, and the WGA and again, I don't know a lot of the details. I've been checking with ACTRA here and trying to get some details. And sort of, but the things I'm hearing, like what I just said about, scanning back, I'm like, nah, no, that's not, no. If you're going to use my likeness, you're going to pay me. or you're going to give me one gigantic lump sum of $10 billion, or whatever. Like, I mean, you're not just going to pay me, well, you're going to pay me scale for the day of whatever an extra is, right? Because SAG scale, the number I gave you, it might be lower for an extra, okay? Because the extra would be a lot lower, and it all depends on your budget and your threshold and, all that kind of stuff. So it might be, I don't know, $400 a day or something. I don't know. I'm just, shooting from the hip here. But that's it. And so no. And there's lots of little things like that apparently they were very far apart on. Now, if we were to listen to the studio, are there things that SAG-AFTRA could be being a little, stubborn on? And maybe we're like, okay, guys, come on, we can, yes, absolutely. Hey, listen, there's two sides to every story, right? I mean, obviously right now the studios are being made to, be the villains, right? And I get that, especially with some of the things that I've been reading, for sure. But if we were in the war room and we were paying it, and we were deep, in it, and we heard both sides. Listen, I like to always, come at things very balanced. Could there be some things where even I would be like, okay, yeah, maybe we should, that's not a big deal. Maybe we should, 100%. Maybe there's some of that too.Maybe, like I said, the union's being a little stubborn too. Who knows? But at the end of the day, when I hear things like what I just told you, it's kind of like, yeah, that's a hard no. That, there's no negotiation there. Like, there's no negotiation there. And why would the studios want to do that? Because they want to save money. Because they want to catalog, save money. And the stars are worried about that because they're worried about that because of where AI is going and deep fake and de-aging and all that kind of stuff. Listen, it might be a little rough around the edges right now, but it won't always be like that. And it's like, hang on, we need to nip this in the ass now and put, rules and regulations in place now before it's a fucking, free for all. It's just crazy shit. And so certainly when it comes to AI and that kind of stuff, I absolutely agree with reining that in and getting a hold of that as soon as you possibly can. This is a historic strike for sure. No doubt about it. Again, how long is it going to last? I don't know. I hope it doesn't last too long. But as I said this morning on my social media post, does it affect It's Me, Billy Chapter 2? The short answer is yes, because we are a union production. But because we are a not-for-profit indie shoot, we have certain options that SAG has allowed that would not pertain to, Mission Impossible or, the next Halloween movie, or something like that. So I would definitely keep everybody posted. And we are continuing with pre-production because there's nothing to say that we can't do that. So we are going to continue with pre-production, the building, the ordering, the getting the contracts in order and all that kind of stuff, so that when the strike is lifted, whenever that is, we're ready to submit. We're just, we're there, we're ready. And hopefully, like I said, if it does look like it's going to go on through September and October and even November, we might be able to take advantage of some of these things that may be afforded to us. So the movie's still going to happen. All your money is very safe. It's in the account right now. It's just sitting there in the account, ready to go. So everything is safe. The movie's going to happen. The movie's not canceled or anything like that. And we still have, again, if for whatever reason we had to move the date from, okay, we can't shoot at the end of November, we now have to shoot in February or something. Well, that's fine. That's still, it's only about a week shoot, maybe a day or two longer, who knows. There's still plenty of time for post-production and to get the movie ready for Christmas 2024. You know what I'm saying? So we're still in a very, very good spot. I just want to let all my backers know we're still in a very, very, very good spot. And please understand that your money is safe. We're not taking any trips to Hawaii. For those of you that follow me for a long time, you'll get that joke. It's safe. It's in the account. It's sitting there. It's ready to go. It's ready to go. And we are going to move we are in pre-production now. Bruce and I are getting together on Saturday, and we're going to be doing up the shooting schedule. So we are continuing to work our asses off behind the scenes. We had a meeting with our DP, Greg Bennett, the other night. I shared a photo on social media of that, and we had dinner. We were working through the script, talking about shot sequences and lenses and ideas and all that kind of stuff. It was very exciting. Greg had some really cool ideas too, and there was one scene that we were kind of struggling to figure out how to shoot. Okay, how are we gonna hang on a second? Oh, you know what? I think we're gonna have to build this. You know what I mean? I can't tell you what that is because obviously it's spoilers, but because of the dimensions of the whole thing and but that's why you get together, and that's why you get together with your DP and you talk about that stuff, is because you got to go through it and you got to figure out how are we going to shoot this? Is it possible? You know what? I think we're actually going to have to build a separate thing of this and maybe, all that kind of stuff. So very exciting indeed. So we are still continuing the pre-production process. But yes, it does affect us, absolutely, but we might have some leeway because we are that indie not-for-profit shoot. Thank goodness. Because I can tell you, if this was, a major film backed by like Blumhouse or something, nope, done. Like no work. Done until the strike is done. So that affords us some leeway, hopefully. But hopefully the strike won't go on too long because it does shut down the industry and everything is done. And hopefully, we'll be able to get back to business as usual soon. But we'll see. I mean, I think the strike in 2000 lasted 6 months or something, and the strike in 1980 was like 3 or 4 months or whatever. So it's entirely possible this could go to the end of the year, folks. It's entirely possible. So we have to be prepared for that, and we'll keep you updated as that moves along. Anyways, let's jump. Now I've got that out of my system. Let's jump over to the chat room and see what all you guys are saying here. And if you have any questions about the strike or anything like that, feel free to send them in, and I'll do my best to answer what I know. If I don't know it, I'll tell you I don't know it. Oh, hang on. Darren said, Dave, check the last message I just sent you. Okay. Let's see here. Hang on a sec. Anything at me? Is this about that the horror hound, or you mean the audio message, or the? No, which one are you talking about, Darren? Hang on a sec. Should I play this over? Is it the audio message? We've been talking, myself and Darren and Frank have been talking about this all evening as well. No, Jeremiah, I haven't seen Dial of Destiny yet. I want to see it. I really want to see it, but I've been so busy with Mad Monster and flying to Arizona and all the Freddy stuff, and then jumping right back into Black Christmas. It's been a bit of a whirlwind. So, yeah. I don't know if Darren is still in the room. Maybe he's going to type it out for me. I'm not sure. I did get it. Like I saw your message there, but let me just answer the super chat. A super chat came in. Let me get this here. Brandon Visconti sends in $5. Thank you very much. And says, what are the chances that you could be the new Freddy for a reboot since Miko came back and studios will probably see the film? Can't wait for Billy 2. Thanks, Brandon. Well, I think, look, I think it's like the lottery, right? If you don't play, there's no chance. I think my chances are better when it's out there. My only concern is that whoever does the remake of A Nightmare on Elm Street, in whatever capacity that is, will likely want some sort of name attached. That's just the era we're in now. Robert Englund wasn't really a name in 1984. I know he had success on V, fair enough, but he wasn't a household name. He was a relative nobody, and that's good. And that's who I think should be Freddy again. Now, I've said this before, I got to say it again because of the stigma that is around the phrase or, the statement, nobody. When I say nobody, I don't mean amateur, right? When you say a no-name actor, you're not talking about an amateur actor or a bad actor. You're talking about somebody who isn't a household name. Like if I say Harrison Ford, well, you know who I'm talking about. But if I say like, John Smitherman or something, he could be a great actor and he's got a lot of experience. He's been in the business for a long time, but he hasn't reached a certain level in the business that would propel him into the pop culture zeitgeist that would make him a household name. So just keep that in mind, that whenever, at least for me, when I talk about no-name actor, I'm not saying it like some nobody. I'm not talking about it like that. I just mean somebody that isn't immediately identifiable. That way, you're paying attention to the character and the performance and not the star in the makeup, right? That's why, you don't want to put Kevin Bacon in there because people just see Kevin Bacon as Freddy, right? Right? So I think it's got to be, so for me, I've worked in the industry for 22 years. I'm a professional voice actor. I've had great success as a voice actor. But in terms of pop culture zeitgeist, I'm a nobody, right? I'm not an amateur. I have a lot of experience. I certainly could do the job. But in terms of pop culture zeitgeist, I would be a nobody. So I believe that I would fit that role very well. And I believe I could do it 100%. I have a similar physique to Robert. I think I'm a little stockier than Robert was back in the 80s, but certainly, I'm 5'8", 153 pounds, or, I'm not a big guy. So I definitely have the right look, as you guys have, seen. And I would do it in a New York minute, as Harrison Ford would say. I would. I mean, at least it's a phone call I would take. If that ever happened, if it ever got into a position where somebody wanted to reach out to me, or reach out to my agent, or whatever the case is, and have a phone call with me and just discuss it, even to just discuss it, to just be in the conversation, would be exciting and very interesting. My phone is on, and I would absolutely take that phone call. The only thing that would make me turn it down, like actually me turn it down, would be if it was a direction or something I just didn't agree with. I didn't feel it. I was like, oh, because, you could say, yeah, but you're going to be Freddy. And it's like, yeah, but, again, I've been in this industry a long time, and there's truth to that. I mean, you could be Freddy and it could propel you, 100%, but it's still got to be something that, it doesn't have to be, everything that I want, right? Because I'm the actor, I'm a hired hand, right? But if it's something that is like that I think is really bad, or like just, or it's just not the right fit, or I just feel uncomfortable with something or whatever, I could see myself turning it down. It would have to be something extreme like that, though, which, you never know, right? You never know. But if it was something like Jackie Earle Haley's A Nightmare on Elm Street from, 2010, like in terms of that's what they were doing, I'd take on that role for sure, because that's just a remake. Now, there's no guarantees that the movie would be good, and no guarantees that people would like me, but that's a role that I would take for sure. So you never know, right? I mean, the chances are always better when you're out there, and when Dylan's New Nightmare is released, and obviously there's, you guys are beginning to see the photos of me in outfit. I posted the video of me welcoming people to Mad Monster, and yeah, obviously, I believe I can do it, for sure, 100%. And I think a lot of other people are starting to see that and believe that. And maybe we've converted some people into not so, Robert's the GOAT. He's the greatest. He'll always be the greatest. But hopefully I'm beginning to show people that there can be somebody else that can carry the legacy, honor Robert, honor the franchise, respect him and his character that he created, and carry it forward, just like, we want with, characters. So I would definitely take that phone call. Super chat from Josh McKenna. Thank you, Josh. I'll get to Arthur's in a second here. Josh sends in $9.99, says, do you know how many people you've reached for Chapter 2 that didn't donate to Chapter 1? I know it's probably a silly question because it's hard to keep track of every name. I'm just curious. I don't think it's a silly question. I think it's actually a good one. I'm not entirely sure, to be honest with you. I don't know, Josh. It's a very good question. I'm not entirely sure. I mean, obviously we've, more than doubled our production budget. I think we have had new people come on. How many more? I'm not entirely sure. I'd have to double check. Arthur Vega sends in $5. Says, hey, Dave, random question. If Dr. Loomis told Sheriff Brackett that Michael Myers was the boogeyman, do you think he would not take him as serious? Maybe. Yeah, I could see that because, in all his flowery talk, I could see him not taking it seriously. Yeah, for sure. For sure, dude. Absolutely. Did Darren get back to me at all, or has he left the chat? Maybe Darren didn't. I don't see. Oh, wait. The Horror Hound now. Oh, the Horror Hound. That's right. The Horror Hound now. Okay, so we were talking earlier. One of the things that just going. Oh, thank you, Darren, for this. Just going back to the convention, the SAG-AFTRA thing. So one of the things that myself and Darren and Frank were talking about, because if you read the, fine print, although it's not really fine, it's really out there, in the recent Variety article about SAG-AFTRA and the strike and everything, one of the things that they stipulate is that obviously you cannot do any promotion, you cannot attend any premieres, any film festivals, you cannot market a movie in any way, shape, or form, and that includes conventions like Comic-Con, etc. And we thought, ooh, okay, so what does this mean? Is that going to jeopardize, is Halloween 45 in jeopardy now, right? What does that mean? What are the details? What are, because SAG-AFTRA merged in 2013, and does that mean everything under SAG-AFTRA, which would mean everything from the last 10 years, which would mean, in theory, this is what we're thinking, in theory, that would mean at Halloween 45, the likes of James Jude Courtney and Andy Matichek and Anthony Michael Hall and Judy Greer and everybody involved in the most recent Halloween films would not be able to go to the convention because they are there, in an essence, promoting, even though they're older movies now, promoting the movies they were in recently, which fall within the last 10 years under the SAG-AFTRA contract guidelines. So, or under SAG-AFTRA contract. So, however, before SAG-AFTRA merged in 2013, maybe you could still have Nick Castle and Dick Warlock there promoting Halloween 1 and Halloween 2 because they're movies that were not under the current kind of, so it's very involved like that. And I find this stuff obviously interesting, obviously, with the union up here and everything as well. So Darren and I were talking about this. This is from, so it's like, yeah, so how is this going to affect conventions moving forward? Might still be a little too early to tell. I know some people, but they're worried about that. Anyway, Darren just sent me, this from Horror Hound, and this is from today. And according to Horror Hound, they say the SAG-AFTRA actor strike does not affect convention signing appearances. If anything, it may result in more actors attending shows as film and TV projects are halted. So it looks like conventions and signing are going to be okay. I would imagine that Horror Hound and certain conventions have already checked in with SAG-AFTRA to confirm this. This isn't something that they're sort of just shooting from the hip with. So maybe Halloween 45 will be okay. It's a tricky thing, right? Because you're not allowed to promote movies. You're not allowed to promote this, that, and the other, even older movies, which they even say. But if you're there signing photos, maybe that's okay, even though they're photos of you in that movie that you're not allowed to promote, but it's okay because you're signing and you're there and you were invited by the convention and not the studio. But if it was the studio, then you wouldn't be able to. It's a tricky thing that we're trying to figure out here. So, but it looks like, thank you to Darren of the Slaughtered Lamb Movie Podcast for sending this over. At least according to Horror Hound, it looks like that at the very least, actors will be able to sign autographs, which does bode well for hopefully Halloween 45 at the end of September. So, okay, interesting, very interesting indeed. We will continue to monitor that and see what other conventions, come out and start talking about this sort of thing as well. So it'll be very interesting. And I'm sure Sean Clark at some point will mention something about Halloween 45, maybe on an episode of The Thing with Two Heads. Maybe he's shooting it right now with Christopher Nelson. I'm not sure. Oh, man. Woo! Anyways, how's everybody doing? It's a Q&A. I know we've been talking about SAG a lot for the last 40 minutes, but it's big news today, folks. That is big, gigantic news. And it affects me. So I'm not a SAG-AFTRA member, but I mean, it does affect Chapter 2. The union up here doesn't renegotiate, like I said, I think till next year. So, things are okay so far. But God, I hope they don't go on strike. Or we go on strike. But anyway, so Sarah Carter says, I just bought tickets to it too. Hope they resolve it. Well, like I said, you may be okay. The conventions, there may be a bit of a loophole with the conventions. You may be okay. So, but definitely if you are planning on going to a horror convention or any convention coming up, check in with them, go to the websites, check their social medias, see what they're saying about it. And of course, have your ear to the floor when it comes to Halloween 45. Have I missed any super chats? I don't think I have. Let me see. I don't think I have. Was it just the 3 that came in? Maybe it's just the 3 that came in. I'm not entirely sure. We'll see. Okay. Yes, I think it was just the 3. Just scrolling back. Apollo Balboa, 1985 says, Dave, is it fair to say that the majority of the funds raised for fan films is given to the actors in the film? Well, no, I don't think. It would depend on what film you're talking about, and it depends on what the production budget is, right? I mean, it depends on what's involved in said fan film. In It's Me, Billy Chapter 2, because we are a union project, there is a large portion of our budget that is going to the actors, yes. But not everything is. And, there's craft service. We have to feed everybody for a week. We have to house everybody for a week. We got to pay for the rental, the location, the equipment, the production insurance, all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's just the rental of the house for the week is thousands of dollars, I mean, so I mean, it would depend on what the story is and what's all involved, if you're talking about like a little, amateur sort of fan film with, friends in your backyard farting around, maybe they've raised, a little bit of money. Maybe it does. I don't know. But then again, it's their friends. So maybe they're not paying them. I have no idea. But I can tell you with something like, with Never Hike Alone or with, Dylan's New Nightmare. I mean, to do my mask, it's not a mask, but to do the casting is what I mean. The casting and the mold and, all that kind of stuff. And then the foam latex, just the Freddy part of the budget was thousands of dollars. So it would depend on what is involved in the fan film that you're talking about, because every production budget is different. So yeah, it would depend. Let me see here. Sebastian says, Dave, sad I missed your stream last night. I know a lot of people said this just from the few seconds of seeing your Freddy on stage. It felt official. I didn't see you. I didn't see you like I thought I saw Freddy. Well, thanks, man. I really appreciate that. Yeah, look, I mean, I'll play it here for those of you that might haven't seen. It's on my channel right now. It's only 29 seconds long, but I have it here in OBS. So let me just play it for you while you're here. Why not? For those of you that might not have seen it.
Mad Monster, Arizona. You are all my children now.
There you go. Yeah, that was the Friday night at Mad Monster. And that was spur of the moment. That was not planned. I had just walked up to Cecil and said, listen, do you mind if I take the microphone and do this little thing? He's like, no, go down and do it. So I did. You know, and again, you know, my goal with Dylan's New Nightmare, again, it's a short film. It's like, you know, half an hour long. You know, I'm not in every second, you know, it's like a pilot, right? You know what I mean? It's like the first part, you know, and hopefully if people like it, maybe we'll get to finish it, even maybe shoot, you know, a feature or something. But you never know what's going to happen. But my job has always been not to do a Robert Englund impression. If people see Robert Englund in the look or in the mannerisms, well, that's great, because obviously I am being Freddy. It's like, you know, two people. Yeah. Like, I mean, obviously there's going to be some Robert-isms somewhere because he created the character. So there's nuances and details that I have to bring to the character that he created. But my job's not to do like an impression, like I'm a comedian on stage or something. My job is to bring the essence of Freddy there. And that's, you know, just that little bit there that you saw is just a tease of how serious I took it and what I brought to the character. And so I feel very comfortable in the role. I do believe that I could play Freddy, at least that version of Freddy. I mean, that's another thing too. Who knows with a Nightmare on Elm Street reboot, in whatever capacity it is, who knows what kind of Freddy that they're going to want, what kind of Freddy these new writers are going to write, right? I mean, maybe it'll be more like Jackie Earle Haley's Freddy, or maybe it'll be something completely different that's very different from Robert altogether, because they want to distance themselves from Robert so it can stand more on its own. That's possible too, you know. But if they want to go in this direction, if they were like, no, we want to carry the legacy of that Robert style of Freddy, then I am fully confident that I could do it for sure. And again, I don't say that in a braggadocious way. I say that as an actor, I say that I feel confident in this role. If there's certain roles I don't feel confident in, right? But there's certain things that an actor will feel confident in. And this is one of those things that I do feel comfortable and confident in. So if it's that kind of Freddy they want, that kind of Freddy, I know I can absolutely deliver. But we'll see what happens, right? You know, you never know who's watching. You never know, right? It's like I said, it's like playing the lottery. Your chances are better if you play than if you don't play. So I've played, so now we'll see. We'll see if my number comes in. I don't know. We'll see. You never know. You never know. Super chat comes Josh Lott. Josh Lott, one of our great co-producers here. Amazing. Says, hey Dave, I looked into the Velisca. Yeah, the Velisca, I think is how you say that. Axe murders. Oh yes. And it turns out someone made a movie based on it in 2017. Yeah, I didn't know that. But it looks like a ghost hunter type of thing. I think you can do better. Yeah, that was from I think it was from a McRae Live I did a couple of months back now, or even maybe last year, where I talked about that. I found that really fascinating. And I thought that would have made a great movie. And apparently there was one, but like you said, it was kind of, it was kind of shitty. By the way, I did get, I've gotten a few DMs, and I think there might have been one in the chat that I missed, a comment. People asking, can you still pick up Blu-rays on the Billy campaign? Can you still donate? Absolutely 100%. The campaign is in demand now. So, hey, listen, every little bit helps. We could use that extra money, folks. I'm just saying, more money just means easier sleeps at night and more things we have at our disposal to build things, to, purchase things, to all that kind of stuff. 100%. So, and what's really cool is that Davey Deathray, I'll never forget that name now. I met him at the Mad Monster Convention in Arizona. He's a viewer of mine, and he came up to me at the table And he was like, hey man, how's it going? And he said, I just also want to let you know I became an associate producer today on It's Me, Billy Chapter 2. And he was able to do that because thanks to all of you, we raised our production budget and then some. So now we're in demand. And I was like, no way. It was like the greatest, like what, the best thing anybody could ever say to me coming up to the table. You know, I was like, that's amazing. That's totally awesome. I would have jumped up and given him a hug if it was socially acceptable. But no, really nice guy. He's just started his own channel now. So, you know, I wish him the best of luck with it and we'll see how that goes. But that's really cool. So yes, absolutely. It's open. You just got to go to it. The perks are still there. You know, Blu-rays and hoodies and t-shirts. There's 2 associate producer perks left. If I had a wish list between now and when we go to camera, because we may get some traction on the campaign after the movie's done and we release that first teaser trailer. Oh, guys. I already know what it's going to be. Woo! Anyway, we probably will get people, you know, like, oh my God, can I still get in on the, you know, and yes, you can because the campaign's in demand. But if I had a wish list between now and the time we go to camera, again, to pad our lead and just kind of have that extra, I would say because there's 2 associate producer perks left, let's sell those out. Like there's 2 left. That would be an extra like $3,000 right there for us. And maybe 1, so 2 associate producers and 1 executive producer, because there's still 4 executive producers. So that would be like a wish list. Between now and when we go to camera, I would say if we can get those 2 associates for sure, and maybe 1 EP, although I do understand the EP is a very, very top tier. That's why I'm saying just 1. But you never know. You know, you never know. You never know who's saving right now. I don't know. But yes, to answer your questions, it is still active. It's still there for anybody. So if you didn't get a chance to pick up your Blu-rays or your double blues, you know, you can get. And also, folks, keep in mind that epic Halloween stream I was going to do on Saturday, October the 28th. We can still do that if we continue to sell Blu-rays. So I'm just saying, because now we're in demand. So I'm just saying. Just saying. Thank you, Josh. Appreciate that, buddy. Thanks very much. Okay. Have I missed any other super chats? I don't think I have. I just want to see. I don't believe I have. All right. Just want to make sure. Let me see here. Scrolling down. Oh, it's empty. I don't need that. Geeked Out Turtle Fan says, yeah, so, and It's Me, Billy Thong. Well, you know, we thought about it, you know, Thong, unmentionables. We'd have some unmentionables on the campaign. Thongs, G-strings, Billy condoms, you know. Could you imagine? Good Real Hunting says, hey everyone, love the look of Freddy, Dave. Can't wait for Dylan's New Nightmare. Thank you very much. Yeah, I think I still actually have some photos from, do I? Oh, that was on the other screen. Hang on a sec. Let me go to the other screen here. Hang on a sec. I got to go to the other screen because I think they're on the other screen. The screen I was on was Cecil. Okay, there I am. Yeah. So, as you can see, Cecil's not there. Oh, but what's that? Oh, that's the axe from the Billy poster. Anyway, yeah. So here's some images. There's me in the makeup chair from when we were shooting the movie in November. Again, it's about 6 or 7 pieces they have to apply. That's a cool photo. And then this photo here, the legend himself, Robert Englund. That's a great photo. Cecil, me, Robert, Miko. I mean, come on. There's a lot of testosterone in that photo right there. And then, of course, that one, I took that. Again, that's a photo from last November when I was actually on set. It's a selfie. I took it myself, believe it or not. Yes, Dave, that's what selfies are. And then there's this one here. That's from the premiere the other night. That's Nora Hewitt there on the top left. She snapped this photo of me and Robert the Wolfman from the horror show watching the premiere. Yeah, Freddy, he's just chilling. He's just chilling watching his own movie. He's just chilling. And then, me and Sean Clark. It's a great photo. Great. It was so cool because Sean, across from us was Tom Atkins and Dick Warlock, two, Halloween alum who are clients of Sean. So Sean was spending quite a bit of time in my area. So we got to shoot the shit quite a bit, and I love Sean. He's great. He's great. And I asked him if I could post this one because he's like, oh yeah. You have to post that one because it looks like I shit my pants. And I'm like, yes, exactly. That's why we got to do it. And then what else? Oh, hang on. Did I miss one? Oh, wait. Yeah, okay. Me and Tom Atkins. Woo! Tom Atkins, baby. Tom Atkins. And then that's the Q&A after the movie was done. So on the far left, you have Vincent DeSanti, and then Nora Hewitt, and then Ron Sloan, who was Junior in Friday the 13th, Part 5. And then, I don't know, some guy playing Freddy. I have no idea who the hell that is. And then Miko Hughes on the far right. Looks like I don't know what clearly I'm the one that's speaking because, what a shock, because my hand is in the air and everybody is looking at me. So fun. And then this one, no, I think that was it. Was that it? Ah, hey, Dick Warlock. That's the thumbnail. Yeah, that was awesome. That was so awesome. I was sitting at the table and I had my back turned, and Cecil and Robert from the horror show were like, Dave, you have a visitor. And I turned around and it was Dick Warlock, and he's literally funny. He's standing there and he goes, can I have your autograph? And he holds out his hand, just a line, right? And I'm like, oh my God. And I shook his hand. I'm like, Dick Warlock, it's so nice to meet you. And we spoke for probably about 5 minutes or whatever, but we didn't talk about Michael Myers or Halloween 2 because he was interested in what I was doing, which was really cool because the night before, that was the Saturday, the night before, I was getting put in the makeup right on the floor, right behind, my table there. And he was across from me, and so was Tom Atkins, and both of them could see the shenanigans going on and see the transformation. So he had to come over and ask about it. So we talked for about 5 minutes just talking about Freddy and the process and the film with, Miko and all that kind of stuff. And he couldn't have been nicer. A sweetheart of a guy. Seemed really interested and engaged. He thought it was really cool. And it was probably refreshing for him because he got to talk about something other than Halloween 2, so it was probably refreshing to just kind of, pick my brain for, 5 minutes. So I hope I get to meet him again because I would love to ask him a couple of Halloween 2 questions that I don't know if he's ever been asked. But yeah, just an awesome guy. Really, really cool. Super chat from Sal Wayne's Knight sends in $5, says Monster Mania confirmed that because they bring in the stars, not the studios, they are not affected. Yeah, I saw that. I think there's some loophole because again, they could bring in the stars all they want, but if the star is there and starts talking about a new movie they're in, they can't do that. So there's some sort of loophole that the conventions may be able to implement. But they cannot, the stars can't, they could ask you a question or you could, so I'm just saying hypothetically, let's say, I don't know, Tom Cruise, I don't know why they would because horror, but I'm just saying, Monster Mania brings in Tom Cruise and he's there, but he's only there signing autographs though. He's not there promoting anything and he's not there. Nobody can, if you were to ask him something about Mission Impossible, he couldn't answer it. Like legally, he could not answer it. And so again, that's why I there's a little bit of dancing around and maybe a little bit of semantics going on. But again, there's obviously something that these conventions have found out and are able to utilize this caveat, utilize this thing to keep their conventions going. And all power to them. I think that's great. I think that's awesome. So because obviously it keeps the conventions going. But yeah, don't expect them. And again, and to be fair, a lot of these horror conventions, the alumni that is there are older or are promoting movies that are decades old anyway, that are out of the SAG-AFTRA, umbrella, which was implemented in 2013. So, but that's good though. I mean, that's good. I'm glad. Luke 2014 says, "Hey Dave, I'm a big huge fan. I met you at Mad Monster. It's Luke. Where did you get the very cool Freddy glove? The Freddy glove. Luke. Luke, the name sounds familiar. Luke, were you? Which one were you, Luke? The name sounds familiar. I know it. I think I've got it. Where did I get the Freddy glove? You mean the glove in the movie? That is Cecil's. They had about 4 or 5 of them on hand. I was very fortunate enough to be gifted one as something I took from the set after the movie was done. It's in my curio cabinet over here in a behind a glass case. But they were not. But it was not mine though. It was not mine. It was part of the props. But you know, like a lot of movies, sometimes if you're fortunate enough, you know, the actors can take home something. I was very lucky. I wanted a glove for sure. I kind of wanted that hat too. That hat, so I fucking molded that shit. But I got a glove, which I mean is amazing. It's totally awesome. And screen used as well. So that's cool. I don't know what scenes though, because they all look the same, but I know it's definitely in the movie. And on Billy 2, or excuse me, on Billy 1, we, I think Maleka, who played Justina, she took the letter opener, which was the murder weapon that killed her, right? So she was like, I'm taking the letter opener because that's what killed me in the movie, and it's awesome. So she took that, and then Victoria took the tree ornament. We had 2 of them. She took one of them, the tree ornament that says a love between a grandma and a granddaughter is forever, whatever, that, you know, the tree ornament from the movie. Victoria took that. I don't know if Shelby took anything. I'm not sure. Shelbs, if you're watching, did you take anything? I don't know if you did. I don't know if Shelby did. Well, let me know what you want, Shelby, and I'll mail it to you. So yeah, you know what I mean? But yeah, pretty cool. Harry Hagen says, Dave, my man Harry says, Dave, what do you think David Gordon Green and Danny McBride, etc., were going for with the whole subplot of Michael Myers looking out his window and H kills? The whole subplot was abandoned and H ends. I don't think it was a subplot. I think it was just something that was said that was, again, something that was inconspicuous and ambiguous so the audience could fill in those blanks. I think that's really what it was. It was more about the cinematic language of, you know, the suggestion of him looking out his window. Like you've sort of answered it for me, right? It's like, yeah, why, right? To just start, you know, to start the discussion, right? It's all about the mysteriousness. What was he doing? Was he looking at something? Was he just staring out into the ether? You know, it's like when a mental patient stares out a window. Like, what was Michael doing when he was, I know it's the TV, no, is it the TV cut? No, I don't think it's the TV cut. It's the actual Halloween 2 cut, the theatrical cut. When Laurie has the dream and she sees Michael in the chair, right? And he's looking out the window, and then he turns and, well, what was he doing? He's looking out the window. What was he looking at? I don't know. He's catatonic. So is he there? Is he not there? Was he looking across the street at the neighbors? Was he looking? We don't know. And that's why it works, right? That's the whole point. That's the idea. I never got the impression that it was a subplot that they were trying to build on and that it would be answered in the next one. It just felt to me like, a footnote about his character. Again, just sort of part of his character. He was, I don't know, he was just there and he was staring out the window. You know, and you're never going to know why. But that's the whole point, is that you're not supposed to know why. It's supposed to be ambiguous because it's part of his character. And so that's what I always thought it was, you know. So I didn't leave Halloween Ends wondering about that, to be honest with you. All right. Luke says, I'm the one who got an autograph. There was quite a few people who got an autograph, Luke. There was quite a few people that got an autograph. Wait a minute. Were you there with your dad? Were you the little boy? Is that Luke? I think maybe not. Maybe not. I think that might have been you, Luke. I think that might have been you. Evil Monsterism says Turtle. Oh, talking to Turtle. But Dave's Canadian. He doesn't know what a restaurant is. You're right. I have no idea what a restaurant is. Sorry. Oot and a boot, eh? E. Could you imagine I actually talked like that? I just perpetuated the Canadian stereotype. You know what I mean? I just was like, welcome to McRae Live, eh? Ooh, it's a boot time y'all got here. So we're going to talk some Michael Myers, eh? Going to be a good time. So about, say not a boot. I got to say a boot. A boot. Whenever Canadian stereotypes are imitated in pop culture, we always sound like we're like 9 bricks shy of load. Yeah. Luke says, my dad. Yes, so you were there with your dad. Yes, I remember you, Luke. I absolutely remember you, and I remember signing that photo for you. It was wonderful to meet you too, 100%. Say hi to your dad for me. Say hi to your dad for me. Your dad was awesome. And that was your mom there too, right? I think your mom was there too. Shout out to the moms. The moms, man, got to give love to the moms. Got to give love to the moms. Without moms, I mean, where would we be? I mean, seriously, we wouldn't even be here. We wouldn't even be here, Luke. Lee the Machine Bowers is Dave, my man. Hope you're having a good day. I'm under the weather. Hopefully SAG-AFTRA getting everything under control so we can get It's Me, Billy Chapter 2 and any other upcoming movies. Yes, Lee, it's great to have you here. Lee the Machine Bowers, one of our great supporters on It's Me, Billy Chapter 2. Yes, as I was saying, I don't know if you saw this, Lee, but I was saying that the short answer, like I said at the beginning or on my social media this morning, that it does affect us. The short answer is yes, but it's possible because we are a not-for-profit indie shoot. We're not backed by a studio. It's possible there are some waivers that SAG-AFTRA has made available, and it's entirely possible that if the strike does continue through November, which is entirely possible, we may still be able to go to production in November because of this stipulation to help out indie filmmakers, which is great. That's great news. That's great news. But we'll know more as the time rolls on. But we are in pre-production now. The money is safe. It's in all the accounts. It's in all the accounts. It's in one account. It's in the business account. It's safe. Everything is good. We're in pre-production and we're continuing to move forward. So, but I will keep everybody posted about the progress and how and whether or not it's affecting us for sure. Bobby Hall says, Dave, if you hadn't been able to raise the money for It's Me, Billy 2, would you still have revealed what happens in the story or keep it a secret? It's a good question. I don't know. If we hadn't been able to raise the money to shoot the movie, we had options. I mean, maybe we would have done like a table read, where we just record the table read and then we put that online. I know it's not as exciting, but we thought about doing that. So I'm not sure. I don't know if I would have just revealed it just like in a social media post. Oh, by the way, here's what happens. I may have wanted to package it a little differently than just kind of blabbing online. But thankfully we were able to raise the money, which is great. Let me see here. Scrolling back. Got that. Wesley Cox says, Dave, how soon do you think we will hear something about what they are going to do with Halloween next? Oh, I mean, listen, it's always possible you could hear something at the Halloween 45 in September. But I'd say it's going to be a few years, they got to let it marinate. They got to let it breathe. Personally, the last thing I want to see is another remake of Halloween. Let's try something different. I think they're going to let it breathe for a bit. So I think you're still a few years away, but who knows? You never know. You never know. Let me just scroll back here. Let me see. I'm just scrolling back, Trying to see. Matthew Farisi says, I'm excited to see what sort of projects you have down the road. You said that you wanted to do the original material. Yes. Yeah, for sure. No, after It's Me, Billy Chapter 2 is done, Bruce and I will be doing, we'll move into original work. It's Me, Billy Chapter 1 and 2 is original for all intents and purposes. It's not like, the story we're telling has never been done before. It's just the IP. It's based on, pre-existing characters. But the Black Christmas mythology and lore is largely untapped because it's just that one movie from 1960. It's not like Halloween and Elm Street where there's so many movies and so many sequels and so much to pull from. Friday the 13th too, right? So with Black Christmas, there's one movie and it's largely ambiguous. It is, you know nothing about anything. Like there's literally nothing. The IP, it's not our IP, but if you think about it, Billy 1 and 2, for all intents and purposes, are two original pieces, because it's not like we're doing our own version of like Halloween 2, where we just do, we remake Halloween 2 and we have a hospital. No, we're not doing any of that. Like it literally, this has never been done before. Literally never been done before. And how we're connecting the dots and all that kind of stuff. So again, for all intents and purposes, it is original, but it is also based on, pre-existing IP and pre-existing characters. So in that sense, obviously it's not original. It's more like adapted, like an adapted screenplay. But yes, we do have original ideas that we've conjured up that would be something we would own. We would own the intellectual property. We would own the rights. And we're very excited about it. There is a horror feature film that we're in development on. It's not a slasher movie. It's more of a supernatural film. But it's not like it's full of, well, you know how I am, right? I mean, it's slow burn, mood, atmosphere, tension, suspense. We believe it's got a lot of commercial viability to it as well. So, we already have a treatment on that. And that may be the next thing we do. I don't know. We'll see. We have other ideas too, but that might be the next thing we do. You never know. All right. I'm just scrolling back. I got Samhain's Night. Okay. So I didn't miss any. Great. Scroll. No. Okay, good. I just want to make sure I'm not missing any super chats. I don't want to miss any super chats. Of course, you guys tend to let me know too when if and when that happens. But yeah. All right, let's see. Lee the Machine Bauer says that means the new Crystal Lake series is put on hold due to the SAG-AFTRA. Yep, that's right. Yep, everything is halted. Tom Cruise, who was doing the promotional, press tour right now for Mission Impossible, stops. So anything he had planned tonight is canceled. Anything he had planned for the remainder, now mind you, the movie comes out this weekend, so it's probably pretty much done anyway. But if he had something tonight, if he had something tomorrow, which is unlikely, he's probably done actually now. But if he did, done, stopped immediately. So any premieres that were happening, let me just see here. Let me just see movies, July 2023. Well, like Oppenheimer and Barbie, if they haven't had their press premiere stuff yet or whatever, I think they have though, right? That would be stopped, canceled for sure. Yeah, all that kind of stuff. Just looking here, but anyway, it's neither here nor there. Let me just go back. All right. Let me see. I want to see if Luke says, will you be at the next Mad Monster next year at Arizona? Maybe. You never know. It all depends if there's a reason for me to be there, right? If there's a reason for me to be there and somebody wants to fly me out to be there, I'll be there. But we'll see. You never know. You never, ever know. Okay. Oh, there you go. Hey, there you go. Spidey fan 1993 says Oppenheimer's premiere was supposed to be today and was canceled. There you go. Yep. Yeah, everything shuts down. It's more dire than the WGA strike. Now, I support the WGA and I do support them striking for sure, 100%. But there's so much backlog. There's so much catalog and backlog of projects already in the vault that the WGA could be on strike for, I don't know, years, not years, but, a while, and we wouldn't miss out on content. But when SAG-AFTRA goes on strike, that's the actors. And when they go on strike, everything stops because you need actors. So every production, every Hollywood production, television show or movie has now stopped. Stopped. Everything. Everything. Unless you're an indie shoot not connected to a studio. You haven't had distribution yet, right? Right? You have to be an indie shoot that doesn't have distribution yet. You might be hoping to seek distribution, right? But you don't have it yet. You can probably still move forward with union actors, which is sort of the area that we're kind of in at the moment. So, but we'll see. We shall see. We shall see, ladies and germs. All right, let's see here. Guys are talking amongst each other. That's good. That's good. Lee says, Dave should be the next Marty McFly. Yeah, that's right, Doc. Marty McFly. I should be the next Marty McFly. I should be. Why not? Why not? I should be. Why the hell not, ladies and gentlemen? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just scrolling over here. Okay. Let me scroll back. Let me see. I'm just scrolling back to see if there's any questions that I missed, any good ones. Scrolling back. Geeked Out Turtle Fan says, love the sunken in eyes on the makeup. Did you guys base the makeup off the new Nightmare makeup or a series of Freddy makeups throughout the years? The Freddy makeup that I'm in is based on A Nightmare on Elm Street 2. It's based on the Demon Freddy from Freddy vs. Jason when he jumps up onto the... It's very short, but when he jumps up onto the dock and he looks like a demon, that one. And also a bit of New Nightmare in there as well. So it's those three. And so, yeah, I was very, because, I mean, the scarier he looks, the better. I was very pleased to see the scariness of the makeup return. So that's what that was for sure. Sebastian says, Dave, I didn't finish watching your stream yesterday, but did you mention speaking to Robert? If so, how was it meeting him? So here's the thing. So I'll just reiterate this. Yeah, the speaking with Oppenheimer's premiere was in the UK this evening. It wasn't canceled. Oh, okay, there you go. Oh, because of the time difference. That's right. Okay. Maybe there's like a US premiere as well. Maybe that's the one that was canceled. I'm not sure. So here's the thing. No, I did not get a chance to talk to Robert Englund. Got a photo taken, myself, Cecil, Miko, Robert. But Robert Englund in that kind of a situation is a rock star. He's the Rolling Stones. And there isn't enough time to engage with him. It's literally, there was over like 2,000 people in line to meet him. And they tell you this when you're about to go. Now, we were very thankful that we were able to get to the front of the line, not to the front of the line, but basically to the front of the line and avoid the line, which was great. But there was no conversation. It was, hey, Robert, hey, guys, snap, out. It was it, because they have so many people they need to get through. You're in there for maybe 15, 20 seconds. There was no time to introduce myself, no time to talk about the movie, no time to talk about anything. Even Miko Hughes, who was with us, who worked with Robert years ago, his conversation was limited to like 10 seconds. Robert gave him the most attention because he recognized him and asked him, oh, hey, how are you? Are you still acting now? And he's like, oh yeah, we're, blah, blah, blah. But there was nothing. It was it was like, meeting somebody in an elevator and you're both going to the second floor. Like, I mean, it was so fast, literally. So there was no time to talk to him at all. He doesn't even know who the hell I am at all. But it's understandable because that's the reality of the situation. It's not, that kind of a situation isn't designed for that. Really, going up to him at his table would have been more designed for that. But even then, you can't get into the nitty gritty details because you've got paying customers that are behind you, right? You can't just stand there for 5 minutes talking to the guy, even though he would totally do that because, he talks like me. But it's just the situation. And they tell you that when, you're in there, they say to you, they yell out to everybody. They say, listen, if it feels like we're being mean, it's because we are, but it's not personal. You just need to get the fuck out, and they have to be that way because people tend to be like, oh, hi, Robert. Oh, I love you. No, there's no time for that. I know it feels cold and it feels emotionally disconnected because it is. It literally is. It is cold. It is emotionally disconnected. There's no warmth to it at all. Now, sometimes, depending if it's just one person or two people, you might have the ability to, slip in a question or something like that, or he says something about your t-shirt and you have a little bit of an exchange with him there. Sure. I mean, I'm not saying it's not like, military school, but it's you're rushed. You're on a clock. You got 15, 20 seconds. Like that's lit. That's it. Literally. So no, I didn't get a chance to say anything to him. He saw me. I mean, he looked at us, he saw me, but he doesn't know who the hell I am. And we waved, bye and thanks. And he's like, oh, thanks, whatever. And then as soon as we were leaving, the other two people were already there. Like, it's just, it's a funnel. And they have to do it because there's literally over 1,000 people waiting in line. And if they gave everybody 5 minutes to talk to the guy, they wouldn't get through anybody. So, yeah. So, unfortunately, it's not the environment for that. He didn't go to the premiere because I don't think he was aware of it. And there was no way to get him to be aware of it. It's just, it's a very tricky thing. Here's the thing. I think Mad Monster was sort of caught between a rock and a hard place because they're promoting Dylan's New Nightmare. They're promoting it with Miko Hughes, legit little, indie short film. The problem is that myself and Vincent DeSanti were also not allowed to be on the convention floor in costume, especially me. Now I got done up behind my table, which is fine. But I wasn't allowed to start getting into makeup until about 6:30, 7 o'clock, so that by the time 11 o'clock rolled around, when it was time for the premiere, I was already done, and it's not like I was walking around because they didn't want it to impede on Listen, I'm just gonna call it like it is. They didn't want me to steal Robert's thunder. Literally, that's what it is. That's what it is. Because the way I look, I'm not a cosplayer in a silicone mask. I'm literally look like Robert. It's the real deal. It's the real deal. And if I'm walking around going, ha, and all of a sudden there's going to be this shift in focus. And the same thing was, for Vince as well. I mean, when Vince gets into Ghost Jason, he's fucking pretty fucking, you know what I'm saying? And because Never Hike Alone is a big deal and it's everybody knows about it and things like that, they felt that it might, and Kane Hodder was just like a couple of tables down. They felt like, it might kind of, they are and we understood that. Like we understood that. It makes total sense. 100%. If I was the promoter, I probably would say the same thing. If I knew that this was the Freddy you were going to make, this was the Freddy there were a few, Freddy cosplayers, that's fine, but nothing that looked like me, right? And so it's one of those things where it's like, whoa, hang on a sec here. You need to, we can't, and I totally get it. I totally get it. I understand it. Now, maybe Robert wouldn't have cared. I don't know, but maybe he would have. And it's always great to err on the side of caution because he's the star. He's the star. He's fucking Freddy Krueger, man. He is. Until somebody else is, I mean, he'll always be Freddy, but he's fucking Freddy Krueger. And he's Robert Englund. And he was one of the big draws of that convention. And he's got a lineup down the hall, around the corner, through the bathroom. Not really, but you know what I'm saying. Around the corner, through here, through there, up there, upstairs, down there, all this kind of stuff. He's a fucking rock star. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, they didn't want that to take place. So, it's just not the environment for it, you know, because for something like that too, you don't want to come across as just a fan. Oh, Ral, can you come to all week? And he's not going to understand. Well, I don't, you know, when the movie's released at the end of August, I think it will eventually find its way back to him because I think people will start tagging him or, hey, Robert, did you see this? This is so great. They honored you so well. Or, you know, they did such an amazing tribute to you or, you know, whatever the case is, right? It'll eventually get back to him and he'll probably see it then. But at the convention, it just wasn't the right environment for it. He was Mick Jagger, man. He was the fucking Stones. And it was just, you know, and we had to respect that. And rightly so. I mean, you know, he's making a lot of money and they probably also pay him a lot of money to be there. So yeah, let's not kid ourselves. The only money he's making from that convention, I mean, I don't want to speak for his promoter or his agent, but I will say I very much doubt that he just shows up and just makes, maybe because there's a guarantee that he's going to make so much anyway, maybe. But I would imagine somebody of Robert Englund's caliber and status that he is also paid to be at the convention. So I get it. Totally understand it. And I wasn't paid to be there. So, so I totally get it. Maybe someday, you know, you never know. I would love to actually talk to him. I'd love to do that, but that's not the environment for it. Like I said, even Miko Hughes didn't get anything in. I mean, you know, it was like, I don't care. Miko, Dave, Cecil, you know what I mean? It's that. And it's like, yeah, no, we get it. So we get it. Let me see. Darren from the Slaughtered Lamb says, oh, okay, no, you're talking to somebody else. I thought it was some insights you were bringing up. Okay. I just want to make sure I'm not missing anybody. Chester Franklin Jr. says, Dave, did anyone in the Q&A at the Mad Monster convention ask how did it feel to play Freddy wearing the makeup and doing your version of the laugh? Can't wait for DNN. You guys were killed. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, for sure. We got all kinds of questions. The Q&A and the Mad Monster premiere will be up online after the movie is out, but Cecil can't post that right now because a lot of the questions that were being asked contained spoilers. So, but yes, he will definitely put that up online eventually. Brooke Scarlett says, so will a lot of these actors jump on the convention circuit since they aren't working? Maybe JLC will make, yeah, I doubt Jamie Lee Curtis will. Just a feeling, I don't know. Maybe she will. Make an appearance at age 45, now their schedule's open up. Maybe, you never know. I wouldn't count on Jamie Lee Curtis being there, but you never know. Stranger things have happened, ladies and germs. Stranger things have happened. Sebastian says, I thought he was also doing signings. He was. Yep. He's a huge celebrity with probably a lot of time on his hands. Yeah, well, he's a huge horror celebrity for sure. I mean, he's not like, you know, Tom Cruise or Harrison Ford, but in the world of horror, yeah, he is a icon. There's no doubt about it. He's a horror icon. He's a big time, you know, celebrity. Certainly when it comes to, you know, again, it's the environment. It's a horror convention. He's like the maid of honor, you know, I totally get it. You put him at a pop culture comic book convention and then the attention's divided up because, you know, you put him, you know, at a table with, you know, Tom Cruise and all of a sudden it's, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying he's not worthy of being at a table with Tom Cruise. I'm just saying that he's like the biggest star there, right? You know what I'm saying? Because he's a horror icon. He is. He's Robert fucking Englund. He's the GOAT. He's incredible. But it's also a horror convention where he's the maid of honor. So yeah, it was like the Stones. Like I said, it was unreal. It was absolutely unreal. So there was just no time to talk to him. No time to talk to him at all. You know, and I would imagine that that is the case with every horror convention he does. With every horror convention he does, he's that for sure. In the world of horror, especially, he is Tom Cruise. He's Harrison Ford. You know, he's Tom Hanks, Brad Pitt. I mean, that's who he is in the world of horror for sure, 100%. And he's an icon. He's a legend. He's a film legend for sure. Not just a horror legend. He is a true film legend. Absolutely 100%. Not taking anything away from him. But when you add the horror subgenre to, or the horror genre to it, oh, I mean, he's I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's incredible. It's incredible. Absolutely incredible. Chester says, Dave, did Kane Hodder have any signings too, or was he busy with other stuff at his table? He was further down, about maybe 5 or 6 tables down. I didn't quite see, I saw him sitting there, but I didn't go over to him or anything. And because I was busy at my table. I was there to promote, you know, I wasn't there to get autographs. I was there to sign a few myself and to promote Dylan's New Nightmare and the horror show and, you know, be with Miko and Vince and Ron Sloan. And so I didn't really have time to peruse. I really just kind of saw him on my way to the bathroom and back. But he was there. His Kane Hodder self was there. And he always had people around him for sure. I mean, he's a horror legend too, you know. I don't think quite the status of Robert, but and I think that's primarily because Robert, you know, there's really outside of Jackie Earle Haley, there's only ever been one guy that's ever played him. So Robert Englund has the luxury of being like the Freddy Krueger, you know, like the Freddy Krueger, and there's no questions. Like, it's quantifiable, it's measurable. He is Freddy Krueger. When it comes to Jason, you got Kane Hodder, Richard Brooker, Ted White, you know, Derek Mears, you know, who else? Dash, whatever his name. You know, I mean, there's lots of people, right? Michael Myers. I mean, now, individual fans will be like, no, Derek Mears is my Jason, or no, Kane Hodder is the for sure. But there's lots of people that played him, right? It's like Michael Myers, you know, Nick Castle, Dick Warlock, James Hugh Courtney, Brad Lurie, George P. Wilbur, and Don Shanks, and Chris Durand, and, you know, Tyler Mane, and Will Sandon, and Tony Moran, and there's so many people that have played Michael Myers. But how many people have played Robert Englund? Okay, there's Jackie Earle Haley, yes, but really, how many people have played Robert Englund? One. And so he is horror. He is A Nightmare on Elm Street. He is Freddy Krueger. Do you know what I mean? So it's a luxury, man. You know, I mean, if Robert had played him in the first movie, but never played him again, oh, he would still be an icon. He'd still be there. But you'd have 4 or 5 other Freddys that would be just as popular, right? You know what I'm saying? So Robert Englund has that luxury of being the only guy, you know, which is why his lines are so fucking long, you know, because it's like he's the fucking Elvis of horror. You know what I'm saying? It's incredible. It's incredible. Rosalia says, well, now you too, Dave. What? I appreciate that, Rosalia. I do. Not officially, but like I said, it's the closest thing you can get to being official without it being official, for sure. Dylan's New Nightmare is the closest thing that it's the closest anybody could ever get to playing Freddy without it being official, right? The production value is professional. The makeup is exactly what Robert did in the 80s. It's prosthetic makeup, glued to your face, 4 hours on, 1 hour off. I'm playing opposite Miko Hughes, an Elm Street alumni, former, Hollywood child star. You've seen the photos, you've seen, the trailer. I mean, you can't get any more official without it being like the next step after this would be it being official. It's like one league below official. Like you can't go anywhere else. So in that sense, it's pretty cool. And I'm the only one to have done it, which is pretty cool if you think about it. That's really neat. I mean, the only other actor to have been Freddy opposite Miko is Robert, and then me, which is pretty cool. So, you never know what's going to happen. You never know what's going to happen. We'll see. But it's, even if this is it, even if this is as far as I ever get with Freddy, which is always the higher probability just because of, how the industry works, of course. I left nothing on the table, and I'm very proud of what I was able to bring and show. Like I said, I mean, my phone's on. If anybody from the Craven estate ever wanted to have a conversation or whatever, my phone's on. I'm more than willing to have that conversation. You never know. Stranger things have happened, folks. You never, ever know. All right. What time is it here? It's, okay. In 90 minutes, we'll go a little bit longer. Savannah, Christina Heffron, I think I'm saying that right. Savannah says, what was car scene and how was Miko doing it for Dylan New Nightmare? And what did you think of it? Car scene? What was car sense and how car sense? I'm not quite sure what you're saying. Maybe if you could repeat the question, I'll be able to kind of get what you mean. Because I do want to answer you. I'm just not quite sure what you're trying to say. Sorry about that. It's such a Canadian thing. Sorry about that. I sound like Marty Moose from, Vacation. Sorry, park's close. Sebastian says, Dave, how come you don't go more often to cons? Or maybe you do. Is there not that many in Canada? So I'll answer it like this. There's far more conventions in the U.S., way more conventions in the U.S. Like there's a convention like as many, it feels like there's as many conventions as there are Starbucks. We do have conventions here in Canada, of course. The big one in Canada is next month in Toronto here called Fan Expo. It's not a horror convention. It's like a Comic-Con. It's like the second or third largest in North America. It's huge. Like over like the 3 or 4 days, it's like 300,000 people. It's at the Metro Toronto Convention Center, like multiple buildings and floors. And it's massive. I've been a few times. It's massive. It's like 20 or 30 Mad Monsters, it's huge. So, that's next month at the end of the month here in Toronto. But there's other things too. Like there's other smaller conventions and things like that. Well, the primary reason that I don't, it depends on how you're asking it. Do I go as a guest? I've been many times as a guest, not many times, but a few times as a guest, just somebody going to hang out at the convention, buy t-shirts, just people watch, hang out, right? Mad Monster was my very first time as a guest. So there's two reasons why I don't get invited to conventions. Or there's a couple of reasons. Yeah, that's two. A couple? Two, yeah. Okay, the first would be that, yes, I am somebody that works in the industry. I am a professional voice actor, for sure. But where I've spent the bulk of my career as a voice actor, right? Because you think, well, voice actors get invited to cons, so why don't you get invited to a con? Well, that's true, right? Voice actors do get invited to cons. So why am I not there? Okay, well, I'll tell you why. So the vast majority of my career as a voice actor has been spent in the promo, commercial, trailer, narration side of the business, right? I've done movie trailers and commercials and network promos and, television narration, all that kind of stuff. So there's no doubt in my mind that you've all heard my voice at one time or another over the years at some point, probably. You wouldn't have known it, of course, because you just hear my voice. And certainly if it was before YouTube, for sure, right? The thing is that the voice actors that are invited to cons are usually animation voice actors, right? Cartoon voice actors, because they're on series, and series, cartoons and cartoon characters embed them, depending on how successful the cartoon is, embeds itself into the pop culture zeitgeist, like The Simpsons and Family Guy and, you know, American Dad and Rick and Morty and you know, Looney Tunes and Disney, you know, Ninja Turtles and, you know, whatever the case is, right? So if you're lucky enough to be an animated voice actor, a cartoon voice actor who hits a level of success, and I know plenty of them, there's a very good chance you're going to be invited to a con because, fuck, you're the voice of Bugs Bunny. You're fucking Daffy Duck. You're Donatello and Ninja Turtles, man. You know what I'm saying, right? There's a pop culture zeitgeist which makes sense for the pop culture convention, right? Now, there's no doubt that you've all heard my voice, but to be invited to a con as a promo voice actor or as a commercial voice, that's what, like, IMDb, my IMDb page, doesn't list my commercial credits or my trailer credits or my promo credits because that's not what IMDb is for, right? IMDb is for television series, you know, all that kind of stuff. Now, my narration credits are on there and some of my cartoon work is on there, which is great. But it only was about 4 or 5 years ago that I started to really shift focus. Now, I still do commercials and promos and trailers, and I still do all that, but I've really started to also build up the animation cartoon side of my voiceover career, right? So I'm on a series now. I'm on 3 series now, actually. I'm on Luna Chip and Inky and Super Wings, and this new one I'm really excited about where I play 2 characters called Lana Longbeard. And distribution, I think, here in Canada is CBC. It's Warner Brothers Discovery in Europe, I believe. Where that's going to air in Europe, I'm not sure. And the distribution in the States, I'm not sure yet. As soon as I know, I'll let you know. So I've just started to build up that side of my portfolio, which would be which would be voiceover that conventions might be interested in if I get myself onto a series that really takes off and really is popular. That's why anime is so popular, right? Again, that's animation, cartoons, right? So that's for my work in the entertainment industry. That would be why I'm not invited, because there are huge commercial trailer guys out there, but they don't get invited to cons, right? Because we don't think of them as the same. Like, you hear them all the time, but you're not necessarily caring to have their autograph unless there's something about them or something about a trailer campaign that they do or something about them that embeds itself into the pop culture zeitgeist. Like the late, great Don LaFontaine, right? Who was, you know, the In a World, right? That guy. I mean, he could do a con and people would probably want his autograph, right? Because he's past the threshold into the zeitgeist where it's like, oh my God, Don LaFontaine, the godfather of movie trailer voiceovers, right? See, that's different, right? That's different. So it's all about the levels of where your presence is in the pop culture, because these are pop culture events. They're pop culture, you know, conventions. That's what they are. And if you're not known in pop culture, then they wouldn't, you know, invite, even though everybody that passed my tables probably heard my voice on a trailer or a commercial or a promo. But again, it's not the same thing. Do you know what I mean? So for my career, that's absolutely why I wouldn't have been invited to a convention, because, I mean, does somebody want, do people really want the guy that did the voiceover on the McDonald's ad? Do you want my autograph? Okay. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. I'm not the guy that does that. I'm just saying, you know, I've done McDonald's ads in the past. Like, you know, what am I signing for? McDonald's, Walmart, you know, hey, you know what I mean? So it's that kind of thing where it can be a bit tricky. So Mad Monster was my first convention, and but I was there not as Dave McRae, the voice actor. I was there as Dave McRae, the voice actor, who's Freddy Kruger in Dylan's New Nightmare. So it was really cool. And to sit beside Miko, who has boatloads of convention experience, right? I mean, he's the former Hollywood child star here. To sit beside him was actually really cool because I was able to job shadow him a bit, you know, and watch how he worked and see the people come up to him and see how excited they were with him and that kind of stuff. And then a bunch of people came up to me and wanted to meet me because of YouTube and all that kind of stuff. YouTube is something that would definitely help to sway an argument to have me at a convention. You know, I mean, if anybody cared, like a Halloween convention or a horror one. But the people that I met, everybody that I met that came up to me, viewers, were not there because, oh my God, yeah, you're the guy that promo you did for It Chapter 1 was just so amazing. No, that's not why they're there. Even though they probably heard that and wouldn't have known it was me. They're there because, oh, dude, I love your channel. I watch your channel, all that kind of stuff, right? So if anything, YouTube might actually help get me into more cons, depending on what the convention is. I mean, I'll tell you right now, Comic-Con doesn't give a fuck about me. But if it's a smaller con, like a Mad Monster or a Chiller or a Halloween convention or something, yeah, maybe it is worth, being there in that capacity. But I would have to be invited. You know, like I don't want to, you know, I don't, I would have to be invited. It just feels right to be invited. You know what I mean? Because then it's organic, then it's real. You know, you're not inviting yourself to the party, you're being invited to the party. And at Mad Monster, I was invited to the party. And so I went and I signed some autographs and took some selfies and got into makeup and played Freddy and welcomed everybody and watched the movie and just had a great weekend. And it was a great experience being on that side of the table. You know what I mean? It was, and to be with Miko, because he's so awesome. Miko's so awesome. And to watch him and all that kind of stuff and to pick his brain, you know, a little bit and was awesome. So I would be more than happy to attend a horror convention or a Halloween something, or, you know, I'd be more than happy to if somebody wanted me. For sure. It would have to make sense, you know, it would have to make sense, obviousto, but I'd be more than happy to do it. It's just got to make sense for me to do it. So that's what I have to say on that. That's what I have to say on that. Super chat from Scott Bainey sends in $2, says, you make an awesome Freddy. Thank you, Scott. Really appreciate that, man. And hey, Scott's my middle name. Thanks, man. I really appreciate that. Yeah, no, it was, I think I do too, if I do say so myself. I think I do too. But it's fun, you know. It was fun to be in the makeup and to play in that sandbox. And if it's the last time, if the other night was the last time I'm ever in the makeup, then like I said, I didn't leave anything on the table. You know, I'm very proud with what I was able to bring to the role and showcase what I could do. And at the very least, if I don't end up being the next Freddy, which, like I said, fingers crossed, you never know. Oh, my cuticle. I just hit my cuticle and hurt my finger. You never know. But I hope, at the very least, if I don't end up being the next Freddy, which, like I said, fingers crossed, you never know. But if I don't, I hope my legacy as Freddy in this capacity then is, at the very least, to prove or show horror Fred heads, Elm Street fans around the world that it can be done again. The character can live on. And there is somebody else that can do it. So we'll see. Taylor Paulson sends in $2, says, just want to say I love you, man. You rock. Thank you, Taylor. Right back at you, buddy. Right back at you. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Thank you. Savannah, great. Says, what was the scariest thing you ever filmed? And was it exciting for you? And do you ever think about doing Freddy Krueger again? Would you ever do a series about how Dylan's New Nightmare was made? Okay, so the first part of your question, what was the scariest thing you filmed on the movie, I'm assuming you're talking about? I would say probably maybe a scene you haven't seen yet. Because it's not in the trailer. It's with Cindy. I always forget her last name. Cindy, if you're watching, my apologies. She was in Friday the 13th, Part 6. She plays the psychiatrist. She's in the trailer. She plays the psychiatrist in the movie. I would say that was probably one of the scarier scenes, which was a lot fun to shoot. And then, do you ever think about doing Freddy Krueger again? Of course I would. If Dylan's New Nightmare is successful, I know Cecil wants to complete the story, so I would absolutely return to finish it off, for sure. And would you ever do a series about Dylan's New Nightmare, how it was made? Well, there is going to be about a 90-minute feature, essentially. A behind-the-scenes 90-minute, a 90-minute behind-the-scenes look of how Dylan's New Nightmare was made. And I believe it will wind up on the Blu-ray, and I'm sure Cecil has plans of potentially posting it online when the movie is released. So, yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. Fauci Cinema says, Dave, my man, how the heck are you, brother? Doing well, Fauci. Doing well. Hope you are doing well as well. Steve Ross says, I don't think it will be the last time you'll be in the makeup. I hope not. You never know. Well, like I said, I mean, it could be to just finish off Dylan's New Nightmare. If everything goes well, I know Cecil would like to do what Vince has done, which is, if he doesn't have the money, obviously, it would have to be shot in parts. So Dylan's New Nightmare, the one you're about to see at the end of August, is essentially part 1. If he has to shoot it in installments, it would probably be like another 3 or 4 installments. But hopefully everybody will really like this, and then they'll come out to support the next one, which would be a feature film. So that's what Vince did, right? Vince did Never Hike Alone. He did Never Hike in the Snow, which was a short, and then he raised enough money to complete the story by shooting a feature film. And I think that's what Cecil would like to do. Rather than just, having to spend the next 5 years shooting these shorts, let's just raise, $150,000, $200,000, however much he thinks he needs, shoot the feature, get it over with, complete the story, and then, we're done. I think that's what he's going to want to do, but, he knows better than I do. Let me see here. We'll go another 10 minutes. Take this thing to 2 hours. Okay. Let's see. Warren Armour says, how do you get an agent for voice acting? Well, there's a couple of ways. So there are what is known as talent agents, right? And a talent agency. So something like, say WME, which is William Morris Endeavor, which is one of the largest agencies in the world, or the Characters Agency here in Toronto, which is like the WME of Canada. They're a big agency. So there's talent agencies that represent talent. So that can be voice actors, on-camera actors, writers, directors, all that kind of stuff, musicians. And then there are talent agencies that specialize. So there are also talent agencies that are just voice talent agencies. And I'm with 2 voiceover agents. And actually, Lynn Griffin, who plays Claire in the original Black Christmas, who will play Nancy in It's Me, Billy Chapter 2, we share the same voiceover agent. Which is kind of cool. Small world. So, but how you get one is the same you would with if you're trying to pursue a career in on-camera acting. You would get headshot. You would take acting classes. You would get headshots done, and you would submit those headshots to talent agents. And if the talent agents feel that you have a look that they're looking for, that you're not a dime a dozen, it's not personal. They just already have 15 of you already on their roster, which could be a reason why they don't, reach back out to you. But if you have a certain look that they want, or there's something about you, then maybe you'll get an interview. And then you go into the talent agency and you get an interview and it goes on from there. It's the same thing with voiceover. However, it is all about your voiceover demo. So the voice actor's voiceover demo is the equivalent of an on-camera actor's headshot. So the voice demo is like a voice actor's headshot. And you have to get a demo done, and the demo can't be, kind of good. It's got to be competitive. It's got to be fantastic. It's got to be great. I mean, excellent, because you're competing in the biggest markets in the world. So that's what I did. Many moons ago, I had a demo done, and I reached out. To different agents, and lo and behold, I landed with the agents that I have now, and I've been with them for years. And so you have to have talent, of course, to make it in the business. You have to have talent. You can teach. I always say this: you can teach technique, but you can't teach talent. You can get better, and you can grow, and you can improve. But talent is often something that people are born with. It's almost difficult to measure. There's just natural talent out there, which really exists. So, but that's, in a Cliff Notes version, that's how you get an agent, right? A very generous super chat comes in from Taylor Paulson for 20 schmucks, 20 Billy bucks. Well, it's not Billy bucks, but it's $20. Says, I have some pretty incredible Halloween sequel ideas, and no, I'm not trying to sound conceited, but they truly are pretty incredible ideas. I wish I had way to tell you about them, but don't want anyone to steal my ideas. Well, you just send me a DM. You can reach out to me on my Many Things Facebook page, send me a DM, and I will do my best to get back to you. The only thing is, though, as I often say, is that the shorter the better. It's not personal. I just don't have time to read long messages and then respond accordingly. That's why I always tell people, if you're going to reach out to me, make it short and concise. I don't mean just like one word or, one sentence, but, a small paragraph is fine. And that just makes it easier for me to reach out to you. I try to reach out to as many people as I can. Obviously, I can't get back to everybody. I try to read as many as I can, for sure. But you could try that there. That's the easiest way. But I can't guarantee that I'll be able to respond. But I would say just write them down and at least get it out, right? Write it down and get it off your chest. Get it off your chest would be the way to go, I think. Just get it off your chest. That's the way to do it. Evil Alex says, why and how you got into voice acting and what was your first job in it? Well, I think I've told this before, but again, the Cliff Notes, I started out as an on-camera actor. That's what I was doing. For the first 2 or 3 years of my career after college, I was doing on camera. I was auditioning for commercials and docudrama series, and I landed a couple of commercials and a couple of docudramas. And then I broke my teeth playing road hockey, street hockey, a very Canadian thing. And then obviously I couldn't go on camera. So I started to do more voiceover work. Now I'm very familiar with the craft, having worked in radio and obviously just, being the performer that I was through high school and doing all sorts of recordings and all that kind of stuff. I was familiar with it, but that's what happened. So I started to do more voiceover in about 2004, around, I think, 03 or 04. And the very first professional voiceover job I ever had, I think was, it's a good question. I don't know. It might have been it was a commercial, like a local radio commercial or something, but I don't know what the product or service was. I can't remember. But the very first movie trailer I ever did was for The Descent. It's on YouTube. If you YouTube Dave McRae, The Descent, it'll come up. And that's the first, I say trailer just because that's, the lingo, but it's a promo. It's more of a promo. It was for television. And that was the very first movie promo that I ever did. And was for The Descent. And that was 2005, I think, 4 or 5, somewhere around there. Taylor Paulson just adds another $1. Thank you, Taylor. Really appreciate that very much. Thank you. Evil Monsterism says, Dave, when you were working as a voice actor, do you enjoy it? Does it ever feel like work? It doesn't feel like work. I do enjoy it. Oh, for sure. I mean, I've been doing it now for, I've been doing the voiceover now for about 20 years, I guess now. I've been in the business 22 years. I do enjoy it. No, I do. I enjoy it, I think, because I'm good at it. So it doesn't feel like work. I think when you're good at something, then you like it and it doesn't quite feel like work, you know? And, you know, I mean, geez, you know, to go into a voiceover booth and spend, you know, 45 minutes in there and do a national ad for something or whatever and walk out with a hefty not walk out with the hefty paycheck. Obviously they send it to your agent, but, you know, is great. You know what I mean? So I do enjoy it, and I enjoy the people. I'm really enjoying, you know, again, the series that I'm on now and really diving into this new series called Lana Longbeard. As soon as I know where the distribution is in the States, I will let you know. But again, we've only recorded one episode, so it wouldn't be available to view probably till next year at some point. But I do enjoy it. I do. Yep, I do. I do. Lee the Machine Bauer says, wish I could have been there for Mad Monster and seen Dylan Zoo Nightmare. Would love to meet you in person. Hopefully in the future you will do more cons appearances and we can meet in person. Absolutely, man, for sure. Hey, listen, I'm totally down. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily fly unless there was a reason to, right? But if a con wanted to bring me in for whatever reason, then I would totally do that. But the con would have to feel like it would be worth it, right? You know what I mean? So like I said, I mean, who knows? Hey, I become the next Freddy and well, there you go. That's solved. I will definitely probably be doing a lot of cons then. But no, it just takes something to hit in the pop culture zeitgeist, and I'd be more than happy to do it. But it'd be cool to meet more people, and you know, I really enjoyed it. I like meeting people. I'm inquisitive, and I like meeting people, and I'm showing up and talking, and you know, it was a lot of fun. You know, I had a blast. It was a lot of fun. So yeah, I do hope to do it again. All right, folks, that is 2 hours on the nose. So I want to thank everybody that tuned in tonight. Just a little Q&A, nothing major, just getting caught up, just, you know, getting the wheels in motion again, getting things started again. Just kind of want to do that. I'm hoping Two Dudes and Some Bullshit will return this Sunday. If you want to know why Sunday, not Monday, and what's going on, check out the community post on my page. It's not the one from it's not the most recent one because that's me as Freddy, but the one below that where I talk about Two Dudes and what's happening with Tony right now. It's all positive things, all good things, but Two Dudes and Some Bullshit, instead of being every week, it might only be a couple of times a month for the foreseeable future, just because of what's happening with Tony and the renovations he's doing. And, you know, he's going to be getting married next year. And there's just a whole lot of stuff that's going on in his life, but he still wants to hang out and chat movies and get that sort of thing off his chest. And it's very possible that once things settle down, we might be able to return to something of, you know, more of a weekly thing. But as of right now, it's a little tricky. So we're so close to 200 episodes. I want to try and get us there. Absolutely 100%. And, but obviously, you know, life happens and we're trying to navigate around that. So, I'm hoping we can have one this weekend, but I will definitely let you know if it is going to happen or if it's not going to happen. I'll keep you posted on that. But don't worry, Two Dudes will return. And when we come back, it'll be fun. It'll be exciting. And, you know, because obviously I really enjoy that show. And I know Tony does too. And, you know, but it's, hey, I'm really happy for the guy. Like really, really happy for the guy. So, but yeah, no, it's nice to just, you know, catch up with you guys, hang out for a little bit, talk about SAG-AFTRA. Obviously that's the big, you know, the big deal right now. And I'll be back soon. Maybe, I don't know, maybe Saturday or Sunday. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Well, if it's Sunday, it'll be the two dudes. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I will definitely be back, and I want to start uploading again more kind of pre-recorded shit too. But as you guys know, things have just been so busy between, Freddy and Black Christmas, and it's a whirlwind. But it's very exciting. I love you guys. You guys are amazing. Thank you, of course, to my great moderators, Frank Riker, Tabitha Short, Darren Sands, Chris Baber, Cody Snyder, and Andrew Stevens. Really appreciate what you guys do. Thank you so much. Oh, hang on. A couple other super chats just came in at the buzzer. Amaducia sends in $5. Says, Dave, you going to H45? Just wanted to say hi if you were going. Cheers, buddy. Possibly. I can't guarantee it yet. Don't know what's going on. Depends what's going on with Billy and all that kind of stuff. Movie Chat More Part 2 says, hi, Dave. Sent you a message on your Facebook. I'll have to make sure to look for that, Richard. Thank you so much for the £2. Really appreciate that. Thank you. Have a great night, everybody. Have a great rest of your Thursday night. Stay safe out there. If you want to follow me on social media and you're not already, I don't know what you're doing. There are my links right there. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all my links are in the description. Check them out until your heart's content. And when your heart is content, check them out again. Have a great... Oh, hey, Taylor Paulson. Gail Weathers signing off. That's right. Gail Weathers. Gail Weathers signing off. Oh my God, that would be amazing, Taylor. That would be amazing. All right, folks, take care. Have a great night. Cheers.